In this chess position, black is about to make a move and lose the chess game. But he's not going to lose the queen, he's not going to lose the piece, he's not going to lose the pawn even. He's going to lose the position strategically. Here black plays c5 and is lost. Gotta admit, when I first came to that position looking through this amazing chess book years ago, I thought, how? Right, how has black lost that? Maybe at the grandmaster level, but a normal amateur player like me, how does that really help? Well, I think it's all about understanding the pawn structure. And as I said in a previous video, I think if you understand pawn structure, you understand chess. The problem with c5 is that it just gives away the d5 square, and that together with c4 meant that white was able to win easily. Okay, yeah, white was Bivinic, the ex-Soviet world champion, but I do rate this book so highly that I firmly believe a proper study of this book, and I mean a proper study of it, going over the positions in detail with repetition, can give you and give me and give every amateur player the knowledge and the skills to be able to read every chess position. In the picture, was that an ashtray on the table? Did anybody notice? It looked like an ashtray on one side and a cup of tea on the other. So let's look how Bivinic actually won that chess game just with that c5 move. Actually, if I may, I'm going to go one move before c5 and look at Bivinic's move prior to this move. And he played in this position bishop e2. It's not even fully developed yet, but he plays bishop e2. Why? Because he wants to control c4, so it's kind of makes sense. Understand pawn structure, understand chess, understand the moves. So quickly into this game, c5 gives away d5, and let's just look at the game, and I'll just look and watch as a first viewing what happens in the game. This, incidentally, is a nice tactical move, because if queen takes, then the knight will take, and then we're going to be on this position, and then if rook b8 and the bishop can drop in, where else to c4, and target this square. So this actually forces the weakness of this move, of this square as well. So now white controls all of these squares. And let's just watch from now. And the trade of rooks doesn't do anything to help black position. And white just invades along the light squares. And eventually black just crumbles under pressure, and it's going to be checkmate next move. So it was all about control of that c4 square and the d5 and the light squares following on from those. But if black could have got in c4 himself, then it might have been a different story. Hence the bishop e2 move early on, controlling c4. Let's look at another position. This is another position from the introduction that I'm going to look at. First thing that I do when I look at a chess position is I count the material, bishops on either side, knight on either side, two rooks on either side, and then look at the pawns, count the pawns, and you can see there's a 3 and a 4 and a 3 and a 4, so 7. Right, and then I look at the structure of the position, and we can see we've got double pawns on f2, f3, double pawns on the c6, c7 square. Black has got a weak e5 pawn, so that's kind of what I'm looking at in that position. I think you automatically look at the first tactical things. You're looking at the knight taking the bishop or the pawn, and you can see there's no tactical threat there, so there's no other sort of tactical consideration. So we've got a strategic position, and therefore we need to turn to the pawn structure and the elements of the position to decide what moves to play. So in this position it is white to play, so white to play, and white in this game plays bishop g5. Let me find the button. So bishop g5. The idea behind bishop d5 is because this pawn is weak, and potentially these two pawns could become targets for black pieces. So what white wants to do is stop the knight from moving. Right, if this knight has a free move, right, potentially it could get to this square as well. But if the knight could come to h5, for example, the rooks could then pile up against these weak pawns, and white would have to tie their pieces down to defend that. So a nice move, bishop g5, just preventing that move. White is won in this position, believe it or not. Like the previous example, this is just a winning position for white, and that is incredible. So this is really instructive on the queen side. So hitting out against the knight, right, targeting this pawn, and then another instructive move, c4. Right, and there's no way that black can take this pawn. There's no way that black can take this and allow this pawn structure. Right, absolutely no chance. And this bishop would be forever tied down to these two weak pawns. That would be terrible for black. So black cannot take the pawn. So instead, unpinning, in order to hopefully, there's no time for any of this for black, but that could be black's plan, for example, because takes, and then another nice move, a4, a4, and now this rook, which was doing absolutely nothing, suddenly comes into life along, certainly on here and on the a file. And look at this, takes, knight to c4, again taking control of the c4 square. I swear there's going to be other squares of interest in these videos. Knight, well, there's no other moves for black really. Trying to pile up against this, but it's too late. Takes, f4, f4 can't really be taken because of this move. Black kicks the bishop, but doesn't. And now this is just going to be checkmate because black resigns in this position. The threat is bring the other rook to the file and then bring that in, and it will be checkmate. So black resign in that position. Incredible. Let's just look at that original position very briefly. Right, black's just lost in this position. If white finds the right move, bishop g5. White finds the right move because they understand the pawn structure. In this position, in his original position, what if, for example, something like h6? Well, you could actually here. This is what I was looking at. It's what I was actually thinking in the first place, was to take, and then you've no longer got this as a particular weakness. And then this knight can hop into e3 and control f5, and that to me looks like a good knight versus a bad bishop setup. On of this video and just the introduction of this book. We haven't even started the book yet, that's just the introduction. So if you want to watch more of these videos, then remember to subscribe. I'm going to do the whole book in a systematic way, taking what I consider to be some of the most important elements of each chapter. So thanks for watching and goodbye.